The budget amendments?
I haven't looked at any of them, so I don't know what's in them.
Can I tell you and then have you comment on it?
No.
Well,
because you might shorten it so much that I really won't be able to tell.
well, I mean, they break down into several areas. Obviously, the one that you've probably heard about already is the council district service budget. In each of the districts, the idea that the council member would get $1 million for localized projects. What's your thought on that?
I completely sympathize with the desire of council members to have more control over what happens in their districts and how the money is spent. So I haven't seen the amendments, so I'll have to kind of work through them. I will say that there are no unspent large pockets of money. So, and the idea, and I don't know how much did they say they were wanting to?
It'd be 11 million total.
We would have to determine whether they're talking about capital projects or other types of expenditures, and see what is legal and what is not, because there are a lot of constraints on how the funds can be spent.
Sort of on the other side of the fence, there were ideas put forward to essentially make cuts to the proposed budget and either save that money for next year or to put these savings toward
I really expect. One of the reasons that we told council members up front that we were expecting a big budget crunch next year is so that they couldn't say they were surprised, A, but B, so that they would be really focused on this year's budget. What is interesting is you have some council members who are wanting to add millions of dollars in spending, such as council service budgets, and other council members who want to make millions of dollars in cuts to help prepare for next year. That's what we'll be doing over the next week, sorting through those issues with council members. Council members don't have a lack of information. There is not a single issue on the vehicles for hire that hasn't been fully addressed and reported on to council and investigated. What the issue is that there's not a solution out there that makes everybody happy. And council members are looking desperately for a solution that both Uber and Lyft, as new entries into the market, and Yellow Cab can sign off on, but I would point out that there's limousine companies, there are other cab companies in the city, and there is not a solution that will make everyone happy. This is not, we believe that our job is actually not, in this case, is not to make everyone happy. Our job is to regulate an industry, and we put forward an ordinance that does that and allows Uber and Lyft to enter the market. In fact, I think Uber and Lyft were relatively satisfied with what we had proposed. They certainly had some things they didn't like about it, but I'm not opposed at all to allowing council members the opportunity to see if they can come up with a grand solution that everybody salutes, and certainly it'd be easier to get the item passed if they're able to do that. Can I? Well, we have an agreement that has to be put to a vote, and the firefighters will vote first. At some point this week, President Brian Skyagel of Local 341 will formally open the voting period, and if he has a successful vote, then we will put it before City Council. The agreement cannot be amended by either side. It can only be voted up or down by the two parties. I'm cautiously optimistic. If the firefighters vote on it, council will support it. I have no doubt of that. If the firefighters don't agree to it, Mr. Skyagel has indicated that they'll just ride on the existing contract for the next 18 months or so, and that will mean that there's no more money for firefighters, but it also means from the administration that we run the risk of continuing to have brownout situations because we don't have caps on the amount of absentees each day within the fire service.
And the allegation that you get a person that testified
No, this is the third successful negotiation that I have done with Houston firefighters. They are tough negotiators, but I would submit, ask the folks who were in the room who negotiated in good faith. We come to an agreement that neither one of us is excited about. Both sides gave. And it's just. My job is to advocate on behalf of the taxpayers of Houston, but my job is also to make sure that our first responders have the resources to provide public safety. I believe that I have done both, and this is a business transaction with a strong and well-organized union, and the fact that we've been able to successfully, it hasn't been voted upon, but we have successfully concluded our third negotiation, I think speaks to the fact that we can get things done when we work together.
I have a follow-up question on Isaiah's report yesterday. Your feelings on the police chief, and he is offended by Chronicle column that's comparing it to a water salesman, and the police unit felt like there's some kind of agenda paper against him. What are your feelings on that?
Clearly the comments in the Chronicle editorial were insensitive and not well thought out. But the police chief leads a large public agency, and that public agency is subject to a great deal of scrutiny and attention, and legitimately so. It's up to all of us to sort through what is legitimate criticism of the agency and what was a really unfortunate metaphor.
What about the police unit being feeling like some kind of agenda against HED?
Clearly, the Houston Police Department is not a perfect organization. I believe it is one of the best police departments in the United States, and we have a strong professional cadre of police officers, but all one has to do is look at an internet search of recent news stories to see that, like any large bureaucracy, it has problems. And we ought to acknowledge the problems, fix them, and move on, and not complain when someone points out that we're not doing our job.
Mayor, back to the fire department, the whole concept of brownouts is really phenomenal over the past couple of years, because in the past administration, I have never heard of any brownouts prior to this year or this year.
The Houston Fire Department has had to park vehicles in the past. I don't want to go back to the dark ages, but when I was a council member, the fire apparatus were in such poor shape that they couldn't be dispatched to fires. We had pumper trucks that couldn't deliver the water onto the fire and had to be parked. So this is not about not wanting to have a first-class fire department. I believe we have the best trained, the best equipped, and the best paid as soon as this contract is passed in the state of Texas, and we want to keep it that way. But just like the police department, they have to both live within a budget and be responsive and responsible for their allocation of tax dollars. And council was very clear in the message that they sent to the fire department, and that is that they needed to rein in the budget. We worked in negotiation to help make that more possible with our interim agreement, and I fully expect them, if with this new agreement, there is no reason that the fire department should ever have to park an apparatus. But there are always unexpected things that can impact on the budget. Anybody else? All right, thank you.